35 minutes to Dayton. I used to have family there. They just moved to Arizona. Boy, everybody's leaving Ohio. Nikki, you should move to Vancouver, Washington. That'd be cool. All right. So, do we have any wholesale questions right now? Unfortunately, we can't talk, but we can. You guys can type, and then I can talk because I'm really good at talking. Just ask Nikki. Oh, I didn't even shut my closet. On YouTube, my closet's open. You can see some of my stuff in there. Not my stuff, but my inventory. Washington has always been my bucket list for real. We should make plans to get together. Yeah, you guys, you were talking about you and your husband coming out this summer. That would be so cool. I could take you to the Pacific Ocean. You could put your toes in it. Denise Barnes, welcome. We've got 6 people here now. Debbie. You are so welcome. I just want you guys to start putting some questions in the chat so I can start talking about something. Forever Blooms. Hi, thank you. You are welcome. I guess you're talking to me. I don't know what Forever Blooms means. As the buyer says they want the item, do you write the brand price down so you keep track as you go? So my 3 buyers, Nikki is in here. She does most of the buy calls for Kaylee, so I talk to her every week. They keep track of it, and they actually keep a spreadsheet. All 3 of my buyers do. And so I don't do any of that. And at the end, they tell me how many items and how much it was. So I will just hold up a piece of clothing and say, this is a Free People, dress or whatever. And it's a size large and it's silk and it's got embroidery on it or whatever. And then they either immediately say yes or no, or they look it up really quick while I'm holding it up on screen. And then they're the ones that keep track of it. I'm going to list 10 pair of jean lot on eBay. That's my eBay. Oh, that was your eBay name. Okay. I have my first buy call. I'm the buyer tomorrow. What should I expect? It depends on your wholesaler. I mean, the way I do it is I just hold up the item, say what it is, answer any questions. I usually my like across the board price is usually $5, and I just say, is $5 good? If it's something a little more high end, I might say, hey, is $8 or $10 okay? And like today I had a buy call and I wanted $8 for something, and she said, well, the comps actually aren't that great on it. And I said, that's okay, because I'm looking stuff up at the bins all week long. So even though I looked it up at the bins and I was like, ooh, that looks pretty good, I'm doing that in seconds and then throwing it in my cart and moving on to the next thing. So there's sometimes when I just don't take the full scope of what's going on. And she's like, I can do 5 on that, but if you want 8, then I'm probably going to pass. So I'll take 5 on it. And I have a really good relationship with all 3 of my weekly buyers. So things like that, I'm not like, oh, is she trying to scam me or anything? Because we just have a really good relationship. So, um, yeah, I would just, if they're a new wholesaler, I would just create a relationship with them and create some trust with them. And, if it feels right, keep doing it. And if it doesn't, then I would maybe stop doing it. I have been so lucky that every buyer that I've had, because I have my 3 weekly buyers, I have a local buyer that has a little vintage store here in the city that I live in. And then I have a couple people that I reach out to when I just have like some excess, or like right now I'm getting rid of most of my inventory. So I'll just get a hold of one of them and say, hey, do you want to do a quick buy call this week? And it's usually, I'll just get rid of that stuff for like $3 a piece, because it's just stuff that was in my inventory that was just kind of sitting, that I wasn't giving any attention to. I take the Goodwill tags off of things for my buyers. I mean, it's not something I have to do because I'm not paying those Goodwill prices. I'm going to the bin, so I'm paying by the pound. So if I forgot one that said like $9.99 for a dress or something, they're not going to be like, there's not going to be any issue with that. But if something's new with tags, I leave the tags on for my buyers because they want to sell it new with tags. I'm assuming you take store tags off before. Okay. And as a reseller, if there's like a TJ Maxx tag on something, if it's like a discount store, I'll take the discount store tag off, as a reseller, like on the platforms, because I just think that like a Ross or TJ Maxx or something like that doesn't need to be there when it has the regular tag. But that's just a whole different thing. How often are you sourcing to keep up with the demand? I source 5 to 6 days a week, usually 3 to 4 hours a day at the Goodwill bins here in my city. I usually get between like 20 and 40 pounds a day. We don't have a bins in Montana. That's a bummer. I did talk to, I think she's actually on here. I think her name's Joyce. Yeah, Joyce. I talked to Joyce yesterday, and she goes to the dollar, like the Goodwill dollar days. We don't have those here where I live. They just do 50% off of certain color tags. But there are Goodwills that do like dollar days. But I just feel like that stuff's pretty picked over. How many pieces do you typically do in one call? How long does the call typically last? Anywhere from like, usually anywhere from like 20 to 60 pieces, and the call lasts between like an hour to 2 hours. And those calls can get chatty too, because I'm catching up. Like at this point, I've been dealing with my 3 buyers since the beginning of the summer. So we're all friends now. So I like the first 5 or 10 minutes of the call is just us catching up with ourselves, with each other and chatting. And sometimes it's about business and sometimes it's about the kids or whatever. So, how many, you guys are so lucky to have a bins. I'm 5 hours from Goodwill. Yeah. And that's what wholesaling is so good for those people that are so far away from good sourcing options. When you do individual calls to each buyer, how many pieces do you, seems like it would take a long time. Also, how do you decide who gets to have first dibs on well sought after pieces? Okay, so what I do is I come home. I usually have 2 or 3 IKEA bags full of clothes and accessories, and I'm trying to keep up because there's like all these questions, which is totally great. So I have here in my office, I have 3 different areas for the people that I deal with on a weekly basis, and different people want different things. So with like Kaylee and Nikki, I really just focus on sell-through rate because that's what they're looking for. And then my one other buyer, like she's more into like some Y2K stuff, and she does a lot of Depop and that kind of stuff. So she's into that. And then my other gal will do things that like maybe the brand isn't a well-known brand, but it's a really cute piece. Like I just sold her a couple weeks ago like a Forever 21 jacket, but it was just covered with like this really crazy fringe. So I grabbed it because I thought, well, maybe she'll like it. And when I showed it to her, she's like, oh my God, I have to have it. So you get to know your buyers. So that's how you decide. And when I have like really good pieces, like when I get like Johnny Was pieces, I kind of keep track in my head, like who is the last person to get one of those, and I'll give the next person those. So I try to divide up like the really prime stuff between them, just depending on how often I get it. Here in SoCal, it's now $1.99 days. Used to be $1. That's still really good. That is still really good. Like going to the bins, I'm paying between like $1.20 and $1.50 a piece when I average it out. So even at $1.99, you could still make money wholesaling those items if you found good stuff. Nikki, I have a call with Connie next week. Very excited. Oh, she must be here on the call. Oh, I see what you're saying that to Nikki. Okay. Yeah, so it is great having a bin so close. My bins store is like, I can be there in like 10 minutes, and I really appreciate that. And some days are really, really good, and some days I'm literally finding hard goods. My bins, you have to get at least 25 pounds to get a discounted rate, so it's like I think it's $2.29 a pound or $2.39 a pound if it's under 25 pounds. And if it's over 25 pounds, it's $1.59 a pound. And that makes such a huge difference when you're buying all that weight. So I always stay until I at least get my 25 pounds, which usually ends up being about 2 IKEA bags worth. But I've definitely gotten like 50 or 60 pounds before on just really good trips where there's just some really, really good stuff. For my own reselling, I was sourcing on eBay, Mercari, Posh, and whatnot, so I paid up for things. Will there be any interest if I charge more? Probably not. I mean, you have to think about if somebody's going to buy like an Eileen Fisher top and they're going to get like 30 or 40 bucks for it, they're not going to want to pay like 10 or 12 bucks for it. They're going to want to pay like $5 or $8 for it. I should quit saying bucks. Dollars. What piece of advice would you offer for someone who is interested in doing wholesale? My first advice to someone that wants to do wholesale is have a way to get items for $1 or $2 a piece. Because you have to think about if I'm gonna take the time and go to the regular Goodwill racks store, just the regular Goodwill, and shop those racks for a couple hours, and pay. Our Goodwill, I think, starts at $4.99 for like tank tops, and then like dresses are like start at like $9.99, and then stuff goes up from there. I'm not gonna pay someone else much more than that. You know what I mean? So you really have to have like a bins or some sort of liquidation situation. I have not dove into like finding out if I can get liquidation from retail stores or anything like that. I've just been busy at the bins. That's how I get my inventory to resell. That's how I do it. But that would definitely be my number one advice. And then my second advice would be that you have to be okay with selling a Johnny Was piece for $10 to someone who's going to sell it for $70. Because I'm just throwing Johnny Was out there because it's just an easy one to remember. But you just have to remember when you're selling these things, like today I sold 40 items for $204 in a little over an hour. So, and those 40 items probably cost me about $50 or $60, and I made 204, so I made like $150. Do you try to meet each on a weekly basis, or is it closer to 10 days or so? Also, I may have missed this, but do you do the leftover pieces that no reseller wants? Seems like consignments aren't interested in them either. Okay, so I meet with everybody on a weekly basis. Of course, we're flexible. Like this week, my lady that I met today, I usually meet on Tuesdays, but I was busy on Tuesdays, so we just flipped it to today. But I usually have her on Tuesday, and then I have my two others on Friday. So tomorrow I won't go to the bins. I'll be doing buy calls, and then I pack up all the stuff and take it to the post office. And by the time I'm done with all that, it's like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And what I do with the excess stuff that my buyers don't want, I either, if it's good enough that I feel like I can resell it, I might list it. But and then, like I said, I do have a couple people kind of off on the side that probably about once every month or so, I give them a call or I give them a shout out, and I'm like, hey, I got some extra stuff. And that stuff I'll let go for like $3 a piece, and they're willing to buy some of that. And then some of it just goes back to the bins. I just redonate it. I'm making enough money where I'm comfortable doing that. Hi, Poochie. How are you? I love your name. I love your name. Can you talk about how you and your buyers comp prices and sell-through rates? Okay, that was a question that was asked earlier. So how you check sell-through rates, how I do it on my phone is I go to the eBay app. I use eBay even though I do sell on eBay, but eBay is just a really good place to check comps because it's pretty solid with the market everywhere, and it gives you the last 90 days of comps. So I will go and say it's a Ralph Lauren silk shirt. And so I'll put in Ralph Lauren silk button-up shirt, and then it'll give me a bunch of options. So I'll click on that, and then you can go to the little filter thing. It looks like a little funnel. And I click on that, and then I'll say that it's used, and then I'll say it's a size large, and then I might say it's long sleeve. There's just a bunch of options. My major options that I use are condition, which is usually used, and size. And then I will scroll down off of that, and you can hit sold. So before that, I see that there's 1,000 that are listed in that for that shirt. And then when I go to sold, say there's 500 that have sold. That means it's got a 50% sell-through rate in the last 90 days because there's 1,000 listed and 500 of those have sold. So it's got a 50% sell-through rate. I try to do at least a 50% sell-through rate, and then I also look at what they're selling for. So even if it was like 100%, there was 1,000 listed and 1,000 or 900 or whatever had sold in the last 90 days. If they're only selling for like $15, I'll just throw it back because my buyers don't want to really mess with anything that's under like $20, $25 because they want to keep their average selling price up. So that's how I do it. There is if you go to Kaylee Elaine's videos and search for sell-through rate, she does a whole tutorial on it, on how to do it. I'm filming this on my phone, so I can't do a tutorial on it because I can't show you my phone because I'm doing this on my phone. So this is funny. So I have one person that's watching. Actually, I have two people that's watching my YouTube channel, and they are asking about okay, so this is for my YouTube person. I am in Washington State, and I am currently not taking on any buyers. But if you go to my YouTube group, my Facebook group, if you go to my Facebook group, which is linked in the description of this video, you can join that, and there are other wholesalers there that are looking for people to sell to. I don't know what is going on down in my garage. I can hear a bunch of noise down there, my husband's. What is your YouTube channel? My YouTube channel is called Creating Happy Mondays. And I'll link this video on the Facebook group when I'm done, because it'll be a video on YouTube. I'll be looking to the side the whole time because I'm talking to you guys on my phone, and my computer's right here. I should have done that better where I was looking at both of them at the same time. You are so welcome. Your name is Haytham. That's a cool name. Yeah, it's called Creating Happy Mondays. I started doing it, with law of attraction videos on there, and then it kind of morphed into these reselling videos. So there's a little bit of both on there. And if you want to look at my reselling videos and you go to my channel, look at the live videos, because most of my recent videos are live, and there's a couple videos on there all about wholesaling, and then there's some haul videos and some videos on how to get daily sales on Poshmark. So I'm going to start putting more videos on there. I just kind of wanted to get some ideas on what I should do the videos on, so I thought I would start doing these lives. My plan is to do this like every Thursday night if my schedule allows, and get on here and just do some live videos on my Facebook group to answer any questions about wholesaling. So I've only been wholesaling since June, but I feel like I've been so immersed in it. I feel like I'm a bit of an expert now just because I've been doing it so consistently for like 6-7 months. So do we have any other questions? And if anybody on YouTube has questions too, I wasn't even looking at YouTube, and there was somebody over here saying some stuff. Explain a manifest. Well, I don't really use a manifest because I'm doing video calls, video by calls. But what a manifest is it is a list of what is in a box lot. So if you see people saying, "Oh, I have a wholesale lot and it's manifested," that means that they've listed everything that's in it. So this is how I feel about like sending a list with pictures. I feel like if I'm going to take pictures of everything and describe everything and like make a whole spreadsheet about it, I'm just going to list it myself. That is the reason that I wanted to do wholesale, is because I don't have to list everything. I don't have to take all the pictures. I don't have to do all of the descriptions and measuring and all of that stuff. I can just hold it up. Like, I have a tape measure across my desk. So if one of my buyers is like, if I'm like, I don't know what size jeans these are, the tag's been ripped out, I can just put it right here across, the waist across my thing and be like, oh, it's a 30-inch waist. So that's what size it is. So I'll do stuff like that, but I'm not sitting down here making a whole list and taking pictures of everything. So, but there are wholesalers that don't want to be on video, that aren't comfortable being seen, don't want to talk to somebody else. So if that's how you want to wholesale, that's more power to you. That's just absolutely not how I want to do it. I do not wash anything unless it needs washing. Like I just grabbed a Patagonia dress and it had like some oil stains on the front. To me, a Patagonia dress is worth trying to bring home and wash. So I brought it home and washed it, and it's in the dryer, and it's still, the jury's still out on that because I haven't pulled it out of the dryer yet. But if it needs to be washed, I'll wash it. But I do not, for the most part, even as when I was just doing regular reselling, I did not wash things unless they needed it. I just started on Resale Butler and both my lots were manifested. That's nice. So you bought lots on Resale Butler. I think that's one of the ladies here in the group, if I'm not mistaken. She started that site. I could be wrong. Oh, you sold. Okay. So is that somebody here on the group? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you're doing to sell your lots, then that's great. But if there are floor fuzzies on the bottom of a long dress, do you wash it or pick off or spot wash? I guess I've never really experienced that. I mean, I guess the closest thing to that is I've bought wedding dresses that have like dirt and stuff on the hem, and I'll hang it on my shower curtain rod and wash it, like kind of spot wash it in the shower. But if things aren't worth it, like if that Patagonia dress would have just been like uh, you know, Forever 21 dress that had oil spots on it, I would not. I mean, I probably wouldn't have bought it because it was Forever 21, but it's got to be something good for me to try to bring home and wash. I mean, there's like no wrong way to do wholesaling if it's working for you. I'm just saying, for me, if I'm going to do all the manifesting and taking pictures and just sending someone a list, and Trash Panda, who I think is probably one of the biggest wholesalers right now that I know of that's doing thrifted wholesaling, that's how they do it. They send their clients a list with photographs, and their photographs consist, I'm pretty sure, of front, back, tag, and maybe any flaws. And then they just have like a manifested list, so they can just like open up a spreadsheet, see the photos, see the basic descriptions, and check off what they want, and then Trash Panda sends that to them. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. If Nikki's still in here, she can verify that. I think for if there was floor fuzzies on the bottom of a long dress, it would have to be a really good brand for me to even worry about trying to get that off. I would probably just leave it behind, unless it was like you know, it was going to sell for a lot of money. And for a lot of money as a wholesaler, it's like $10 to $20, because it's really going to sell for like $100 or more or something like that. My job as a wholesaler isn't to make as much money as I can on each item. It's to get stuff inexpensively enough for myself so I can pass it on to my buyers so they can make an amazing profit on it while I'm still making an amazing profit. I mean, like I said, today I turned like basically $50 into $204. And to me, that is a great return on my investment. Hi. Oh, your name is not Jolene. It is, give me a second. Terry or, hi, Lynn. Oh, what is your name? I just saw it. I'm trying to get better with names. I think it might be Terry, because you were in the chat the other day, yesterday. Or maybe that was today. No, I think it was yesterday. So, any more questions? Any more inquiries? Everything's just silent. I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you. You are so welcome. I appreciate all of you guys that have come on to this group. Do you resell the items your clients pass on? Sometimes I do if they're good enough. I'm really trying to back off on my own reselling, because I literally had like half a room worth of a death pile, and it was just ridiculous because I was still kind of in reselling mode for myself. So I would find something and I'm like, I probably couldn't sell that, but I can resell it. And it was something that I could maybe get $20 for. And I had to like stop doing that. Like, my kind of rule right now is it's got to be at least a $50 sale if I'm going to list it myself, because I'm spending so much time doing the wholesaling that it needs to be worth my time to actually sell that item. So sometimes if I feel like it's something that they passed on because it was vintage and there was like no comps on it, but I am a little bit savvy on the whole vintage thing and I think I could probably get $50 or $60 for it, I'll keep it and try to sell it. And there's also things like I found a ski coat today that would take up an entire poly bag, which would be like, to my buyers that are across the country would be like a $15 shipping. So even if I sold it to them for like $10 or $15, it's going to be that again just to ship it to them because it's so big. I'm going to keep that. I'm pretty sure I can get between $50 and $100 for it. So I'm going to resell that because it's so big and bulky that it's not worth selling to my wholesaler buyers to, for them to, they could probably still make some money on it, but it's just, I'd rather fill a bag with a whole bunch of stuff, not just one item. And that's something that I comped and I was like, okay, I'll just grab this and I'll sell it. And of course I bought it like 3 days ago and it's still sitting in my photo room waiting. So I'm just having a really hard time getting into the routine of reselling my own stuff, but I'm still selling my own stuff. I still have daily sales on the 3 platforms I'm on. So, and I'm constantly, like, every morning I work on those and send offers and stuff. So don't pick up coat things that take up most of the bag. I mean, you can. I've definitely sold some coats, but like the really big, heavy ones. I mean, this is like a men's ski coat and it's just huge. Like my poly bags are 19 by 24 and I could probably roll it up and maybe fit a few more things in there, but I just think it would be a waste of space. And to answer another question that somebody asked, and I don't remember and it wasn't on here, it was just on the group. I do also sell like shoes and accessories. So I've sold hats to my buyers. I've sold shoes, purses. I just try to like kind of pocket them around some clothes so they don't poke on the poly mailers. And if it's like a pair of stilettos or something, I might not, just because it's not going to ship well. Because if one of those heels goes through the poly mailer, then it's probably going to get destroyed in the mail. How many items on average fit in a poly? I can get between 10 and 15. I know that Sean at Trash Panda is like an expert packer and he will like basically sit on them to get them compacted. I don't do that. Like I just sold 40 items and it went in 3 bags today. And those I'm in Vancouver, Washington, which is close to Portland, Oregon, and it went up to Seattle. And the total cost for those 3 bags was $19.74 to send to her. And that's cubic ground advantage. What size poly? 19 by 24. I get them on Amazon, but Kaylee has a company that she uses and that's usually listed on her videos. But I kind of price them and they're about the same as what I can get them for on Amazon. So, and Amazon puts them on sale. It's usually they've been on sale for as low as like $22 up to like $30, and that's for 100 of them. And I do Prime, so I get them shipped for free. Still eagerly awaiting Sean's packing video tutorial. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Is he really going to do one of those? Because that'd be entertaining. Because it sounds like he's like a ninja at it. I should probably watch it because I would learn some stuff. Because I could probably do better. I feel like I do pretty good. I haven't had any complaints about my packing. Like like I said, I'm on the West Coast, Southern Washington, almost in Oregon. And when I send to Seattle, they're like, hers were like $6.54 each, $6.54 or $6.66, which is kind of a scary price there. Whenever that comes up, I'm like, ooh. But like my Florida gal, hers were between $13.15 and $14.14 to send across the country, which I still think is really a good price for like a 8 or 10 pound poly. Excuse me. Also, when I pack the poly bag, I then tape all the corners down so it turns into this cube. On my group that you guys are all on, because that's where I'm doing this live, is a little like photo tutorial. I don't know exactly how you'd search that. Maybe like packing or something, wholesale package or something. But I did a little like photo tutorial on how I pack my poly bags. Do you bag each piece or just fold and put in the bag? I just roll it up and put it in the bag. Every once in a while, if something like today, my buyer got a sequin dress that was all beaded with sequins, and I put that in a separate small poly bag and just kind of folded up the poly bag and put it in there. And that way the beads don't catch on any other clothes and snag them, and the other clothes don't snag on that. So if I have something that's kind of delicate like that, I will or if I have like shoes that like maybe need to be cleaned up a little bit, I'll put those in their own poly bag and then put them in the big poly bag, just so they don't like get like a white blouse, dirty with the bottom of the sole or something. Because if I have shoes, I don't put any work into them. Like if my buyers are buying them from me for $5, and I know they're going to get like $40 or $50, they can clean up the soles. I'm not going to spend the time to do that for $5. But I do not bag each piece. They just I literally like roll them up like I'm like trying to pack a really tight suitcase. So that's how I do it. And as far as like if you're wanting to get into wholesale and you want to find clients, like this group is a really good place. But also I've just gone like how I got my very first client, which was my lady from Florida. It was not Kaylee and Nikki. They were not my first clients. I was on one of Kaylee's videos and I mentioned, oh, wholesaling sounds so fun. All the thrifting without all the listing. And I might want to try that. And this lady reached out to me and said, hey, I would be really interested in buying from you if you want to do wholesale. And so we got on the phone together and talked about it. And then we started doing it. And then I think it was like a couple of weeks later, 2 or 3 weeks later, I was like, I wonder if I reached out to Kaylee if she would be interested. And I reached out to her. And the next thing I know, me and Nikki are doing buy calls. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And now we're like friends and we're talking about meeting in person and we know about each other's kids and dogs. And Nikki's dog sent my dog some toys during Christmas. So you like this morphs into these really good friendships. So, and it just gets to the point where you just totally trust people. Like I don't really fret over like my lady today. I don't think she's paid me yet. And it's not like I sent her an invoice like hours ago and texted her and told her, hey, I sent you an invoice and she hasn't paid me and I might not get paid till like Sunday or Monday, but it's not anything that I'm panicking about because I know she's a single mom and she's got kids that are in sports and stuff and she's running around doing all this stuff and she'll eventually look at her phone and be like, oh yeah, I need to pay Shelly. So before I did wholesaling, I was getting good at brands and sell through. So I've been reselling since like 2000. And so I kind of knew the trends and brands and stuff, but I had started watching Kaylee for a couple months and I was starting to follow her sell-through rate thing, which was just like, duh to me. Like, why have I not been doing this my whole career? But it was just so new to me. It's interesting when you think you know everything and then you find out something that's even better. So I had just started learning about how to do sell-through rate. So but I was definitely pretty savvy on like the really good brands and stuff because I'd been reselling long enough to know that. But there's still brands like that Catherine's brand, which is a plus size brand, I passed up on that like my whole reselling career because I didn't know what it was. And then, you watch Kaylee's haul videos or her what sold videos, and it's like, oh my goodness, those, I need to get those. And now I pick them up pretty consistently. What kinds of payments do you take? I do PayPal. All of my clients have done PayPal so far. I haven't used anything else. Yeah, I didn't think Catherine's was anything special, and then I watched her videos. It As a wholesaler, it is important to keep watching what sold videos. Whoever you follow, whether it's Kaylee, whether it's who, like I follow a couple different sellers and that are really good, regular resellers, and I watch their what sold stuff, and I'm always finding new brands. I'm always finding new brands on my own. I found a couple new brands today that I sold to my buyer, and she was like, "Ooh, that's a new one to me." And I said, "Yeah, it's a new one to me too." And I don't really keep a list. I just kind of keep a mental note, and it seems to work. I think I'm just passionate enough about this business that it sticks for me. But if you need to take notes, then take notes. Like, everybody needs to do this on their own terms. Who do I watch besides Kaylee? I'm going to open up another YouTube tab so I can look. Because there are a few. I'll open up my history and just see what I've been looking at as of lately. So I just watched, they're called Frizzy's Finds, and they did a 2004 Bolo brand list. So it's Frizzys Finds, Frizzy's Finds. And they did, like I said, they did a Bolo list. I was listening to that this morning while I was putting my makeup on and curling my hair. Kaylee, of course. And then, let me see where this other one is. Another really good one is Thrift and Thrive. I don't remember what her name is. She's just this cute little, I want to say teeny bopper, but she's married and she's just very young. Canary's Closet, McThrift. Have you heard of Grandma Grandpa Style? I can't believe that is selling. Yeah, Grandma Core is definitely a thing. Yeah, Mogi Beth. She's a good one. Thrift and Thrive is really good. The only thing that drives me crazy about her, she's so cute, but she like when she's talking about sequins, instead of saying this one has sequins, she goes, this one has sequencing. And I'm like, that's not what that is. So she does these odd little names for things that just kind of like, what are you doing, lady? But she finds just like some really great stuff. And she'll do like a little haul, or not a haul. She'll show herself at the thrift store, and then she'll do like a little haul, and she'll like say, I already sold this for $70 or whatever. So I love that about her. I also watch Busy Bee Thrifts, and she does haul videos and what sold videos. She is actually here local, and like I just talked to her yesterday or the day before when I was at the bins. And so we've kind of become friends. We haven't like done lunch or anything, but she has some really good stuff, and I see her at my bins because that's where she shops. Let's see, do I have any others? Oh, Harry Tornado. They do a lot of hard goods, but they're just very entertaining. And then Homeschool Mom, or Hustle at Home Mom. I love her. And Rally Roots. If you have not seen Rally Roots, they are great. He's kind of a t-shirt guy. They do hard goods, but they do a lot of like vintage clothes and things like that. Yeah, so that's kind of who I've been listening to as of lately. Yeah, that grandma core, and there's like coastal grandma, which is like if you just think about what's that show with oh my god, I can't even remember what the show's called. It's a Netflix show with the two ladies, like that whole style. If that makes any sense to anybody, because I'm so bad with names. Homeschool picker, yeah, homeschool picker, and then hustle at home mom is a good one too. I love homeschool picker. I love her, the guy that does her editing, because he's always like throwing in all these funny things when she's talking about stuff. I love the entertainment of it. I would be interesting to talk to about all the aesthetics. It would be interesting to talk about all the aesthetics. Yeah, there is a lot of aesthetics. And I'm sure there's videos about that, but there's even there's even one that's called Poverty Core, which just kind of was like, that's not right. But there's some brands that focus on that, on Poverty Core. And it's just like ripped up stuff. So if you find something that's just all ripped up and has a pretty interesting tag, look it up because it might be something big, or not big, but good. Good for reselling. Yeah. Magnolia Pearl, Magnolia Pearl is Poverty Core. And that's like one of my like holy grails that I've never found. You have some of that? And like to like I shopping in the bins is such a gamble because I look at it when I pull it out of the bin. I look at it when I bring it home and I'm putting it in whatever pile I'm going to sell it to. And then I look at it again while I'm like holding it up, showing to someone, and then I'll find a flaw. I did that like 3 times today during my buy call. I don't take it personal. I used to get so upset, like, I'm so sorry. Or um, I also give credit to the people that buy from me. So like if something has like a stain on it and they have to wash it, I end up giving it to them for half price. If they just threw it away, because I've like missed whole like crotches ripped out in a pair of slacks. Like sometimes I'm like just so focused on getting as much as I can that I don't check stuff. But um I used to feel so bad about it. I still feel bad about it. Like, of course, I don't want to do it, and I'm trying to get better and better at finding flaws. But that is part of the game of shopping at the bins. A lot of that stuff is there because it had a flaw and it wasn't viable to go into the regular retail rack store of Goodwill. And yeah, so when I'm not a sewer, so I don't mess with stuff like that, but I will wash stuff. No Magnolia Pearl, but Poverty Core. Mostly denim jeans and shorts with holes. Sean jeans, shorts, and huge holes. Yeah. Yeah, I would love to find some Magnolia Pearl, but um that whole name just I don't like it. I think part of it is because I'm close to Portland, Oregon. There's so many homeless people around here. I mean, I'm not getting political or anything. I think there's a lot of them that need to do what they need to do, but just that whole vibe is just kind of messed up to call something Poverty Core. It is a wild brand. I would love to find some of it. There's a brand that's called Peace and Pearls that's just kind of a nothing brand, and I find it all the time, and I'm always like, when I see the pearls, I'm like, oh, it's just that. Holes in crotch. There was a brand in thrift called Nudie Jeans. has crotch holes. Wasn't sure it was meant to be there. Oh, you passed on it. Yeah, I think I would have passed on it too. That's crazy. There's some crazy stuff out there. That's for sure. There is some crazy stuff. That's one thing that I do check, and it sounds a little disturbing, but when I'm buying like swimsuits or shapewear or lingerie, I always very carefully check the crotch area. They're perfectly placed on the butt and crotch. They probably were supposed to be like that. Ew. Yeah, you never know nowadays. There's some crazy stuff out there. And some of it is worth something. Like, I think that if I would have picked up something like that and it was messed up like that, but if I checked and sell-through rate was great, I'd still get it because I might have a buyer for it. If sell-through rate was good and it was worth enough money, like that's something that it's got to be worth some money if I'm gonna list something or expect somebody else to list something off the wall like that. All right. So does anybody have any other questions before I wrap this up? I looked it up and didn't see any holes in the crotch on that brand. Well, that's kind of scary. I would have passed on that too. So I'm going to do this again next Thursday. And I'll just try to make it a weekly thing where I just get on here and talk about wholesale with everybody, or reselling too. If you have any reselling questions, I'm not a total expert on everything, but I've been doing it for a while, so I feel like I'm pretty good at answering questions. Just waiting to see if anybody's typing anything out. There's always like a little delay when you do a live. Anybody? Any last minute takers on any questions? Thanks so much for taking the time to do this. It's appreciated. Well, thank you so much, Jody. I love doing stuff like this. I love doing calls. I love helping people. I try to answer as much as I can in the group, but it gets a little overwhelming sometimes. And there's people like before, so I did that interview with Kaylee. Before that, I had 130 people in here, and now I have 447. So that's awesome. And I would think that probably close to 400 of them are resellers and the other ones are wholesalers. So if there's anybody that watches this or watches the replay of this and you want to be a wholesaler, there is a huge need for it. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap this up. I appreciate you guys coming on here and asking questions and hanging out with me for an hour, and I will talk to you guys on the group and see you next week. And I'll announce it and everything, so there'll be some reminders. You're so welcome. You guys have a great night. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. I've made one connection in your group. Nice. That's what I did it for. Bye. Okay. All right, YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Next week I will have my cameras faced better, so I'm not over here the whole time. I'm facing this way. So I just wanted to record this so I can use it for the replay. And thanks for watching. Bye.